How's it going? It's Charles Botenston, and today we're going to be talking about something that I've alluded to in multiple videos, but I've actually never spent an entire video about it, and it really sickens me because I've talked about it, about people wasting time and people not taking advantage of their time, and people just walking around. They're not educating themselves. They're not being fully present. They're just literally thinking about the destination they need to go to, like if they're going to work, if they're going to the gym, if they're like, enjoy the destination that you're going to. And listen, I understand it's woo-woo and it sounds like, what is this guy talking about? But to be honest, we're not here that long. And the actual inspiration behind this video was because I was going into a bunch of people that I know, that I grew up with. Actually, it was their parents that I grew up. So it's friends, parents that I grew up with. And these were guys that were throwing the football around. They were out on the baseball field. They're out on the hockey rink. They were driving us to camp. And, you know, they were going to the beach, and these guys were in shape. And I'm looking at it now, and you literally can just put in someone's name and just press someone's name, like Charles Botenston, age. I'm 29, by the way. But you put in their name and then say age, and their age comes up. And I started putting in people's names or my friends' parents' names, and a lot of them were in their late 70s and some of them in their 80s. One of them was 82. 82. You know, I remember them when they were 62. You know, when I was 9 and 10, and as I was saying, we were out on at the beach or at their house, and now they're 82. You know, 20 years went like that for them. Probably went even faster for me. And it really got me to thinking. I actually pulled back, and I started thinking about it. I'm like, wow. I'm like, 20 years went like that for them. And it went even faster for me, that this person's 82. They don't walk as fast. They probably don't have the same memory. They're worrying about more things, like not being here anymore, like not being alive. And it really got me to thinking, like, dude, why am I fearful? At one time, you're going to be dead. And I know I actually did a video about that. It's morbid, but it's true. And it kind of puts you at, you know, the crossroads of like, oh, am I fearful to make this phone call? Is this phone call really going to be anything in the grand scheme of things? You know, is this phone call really going to matter if they say no, or they hang up on you, or they curse at you? No. You're not even going to remember that phone call. You know, if anything, you're going to say, you know what, I got stronger from it. And the reason being is that I have a huge amount of things that I want to do. I have goals. I have probably 80 goals, like big goals. Like one of them is to have enough money that I can take a couple of months off, train, and get to not the peak of Mount Everest, but the summit of Mount Everest, which is like you get to a summit, which takes, I think, 60 days or 50 days. And then if you actually want to go to the peak, I don't know the actual terminology, but they're big goals. You know, go to South Africa, go shark diving, go off the highest bungee cord. There's just some big things going on that I really want to do. And I start thinking about the goals I want to do, and it's like, how many goals did this guy have? You know, at 62, when we were all playing around, throwing the ball around, he's like, I'm 62, I could do it tomorrow. I could do it next week. I could do it when I'm 65. I could do it when I'm 70, 75, 80, 82. So we're not here, we're a blip. We're a blip. We're just like blowing a bubble and it pops. That's how long our life is. And when someone says it's short, it is short, but it's long enough. Like there's a book, I actually couldn't finish it. It's by Seneca, and it is called On the Shortness of Life. There we go. I don't know if we could zoom in on that. On the shortness of life. And he starts going into it, and he says, yes, it's short, but he said it's long enough to make a difference. It's long enough to actually worry about things. It's long enough where you can actually look at every single second, every single day, and realize, you know what? I have plenty of time to do what I want. You know, for me, one of my long-term goals is to do this is to do speaking, to write books, to go into companies, to go into, I don't know, have individuals, have seminars about bettering their business, their lives, whatever. Not as like motivating or anything like that, but just having people realize that life is it's actually easier than we think, and it's shorter than we think. Yet there's enough time to do what we want. But I just want you to know that, I know I'm in a solemn mood, not a solemn mood, but I'm not as enthusiastic and energetic that I've always been. But because they literally impacted me that much, that I'm looking at someone's age and I started rewinding, like, wow, 82. I'm like, when did we hang out? I'm like, that was when he was in his 60s. That was 20 years ago. I'm like, that. So what I implore you to do, and what someone actually told me to do is, and it sounds morbid, but it puts everything in perspective, is that you go on military, I forgot what it is. I actually have it. Do I have it bookmarked? I do. It's right here. World War II. What are they? Obituaries. So it's legacy.com/memorial-sites-World War II. I know that's a lot, but legacy.com, and then you look up memorial sites for World War II, and it's literally people that have passed away that fought in World War II, and you start reading their lives, and they're 18 when they went into war, and then they came out when they were 22 or 23, and you're like, well, actually, December 7, 1941, and then August 6, 1945, so that's 4 years, would be most of the maximum. That was Pearl Harbor and Hiroshima. Actually, no. Was that Hiroshima? Yeah. And then Nagasaki was August 9th. So I implore you to look at people around you that are elderly and just look at them, even if you don't know them. Like, I look at someone on the elevator, I'm like, what does that person wish they could do if they were my age? Date more, run more, laugh more, play more, make more money, take bigger risks, hug more. I don't know. And I don't want you to go and regret something. So just understand that the people that you grew up with and the people that I grew up with, their parents are like, they're only a couple years away from, and it sucks to hear, but it's like, you have to hear it so then you understand. Don't get to that don't get that old without doing the things you want to do. So listen, I know it was a little bit more of a Debbie Downer, but it's honestly one of the most powerful things. The most powerful motivating is that in the future you're not going to be around, but the people that you're hanging out with, their parents, they're not going to be around sooner than you, and it's unfortunate, but you want to ensure that you take advantage of every single second. Don't just say, I'm going to the gym, and then don't remember the journey to the gym. I'm going to get food, and don't remember the journey to and I'm not saying make it memorable every single time, though that would be amazing, but be present as you're walking there. Take the headphones out. Enjoy the miracle that, like, literally you can walk to pick up food. At no other time was it as convenient. At no other time was it as convenient to pick up food at a place that's pre-made and you just pay for it. Talk about 200 years ago, 300 years ago, and before. Talk about even 100 years ago or 50 years ago. You'd have to go out to the grocery store. There wasn't as many McDonald's. There definitely wasn't as many fast food or luxury places or restaurants that you go out to, and you didn't probably have the money to do it all the time. So anyway, I'm Charles Bodenstein. I know it's a little bit of a downer. I don't know what the point of this was, but it just shocked me looking at the people that I grew up with and their parents are, as old as they are, and just understand life is not that long, but it's long enough. make your impact. I'm Charles Boneston. Subscribe to the videos and follow me on Instagram, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.